Hello, this is a quick video to show you how to communicate with both the students in your class and their parents, and then be able to track who's actually receiving your messages. So if you have a ParentSquare link already in your bookmarks, you can go to that. If you don't have a ParentSquare link, a quick way to get there is to go to the Redwood Middle School website, down to Resources, ParentSquare for Parents. This is a whole letter introducing parents to ParentSquare. We want this link, this very first extra link, the sign in. And since I've used this account as a teacher, it will take me to my teacher account right here. So I can take a look at all the ParentSquare messages I've received. If I was interested in knowing what's come in to me, this is my way of checking that, whether it's something the district sent, or if I scroll down a bit, here's a message I received because I generated it, and I always get a copy of the messages I generate. It gives me a truncated look at what I wrote. If I want to see the whole message, I can just click on the title. It will show me everything. It will also show me what I had for attachments, what I sent out. There are my cool Easter bunnies with their CDC-approved masks. And then when we're done, we're going to come back to this post, and I'm going to talk about this notified message, how many students have actually received what you sent. First, though, let's take a look at how you would post a message. To post a message, we're going to click on New Posts, and that will take us to the screen for composing our post. First thing I want to do is I want to load up the recipients of my post. So you can see I have 5 classes listed here, and each of these classes includes data about students and about parents in terms of contact information. If I look at just one class, here's my first period class. There are 28 parents who will get an email out of this class, 27 who will receive a text message, and 8 who will receive an app notification. Now, if you've done the math on those numbers, that's 63 people or 63 notifications. There aren't 63 parents of the students in my first period class. So some of those parents are receiving both email and text or email and app. I can also see how many students will receive by clicking the student box, and that matches the enrollment of my first period class. There are 31 students. Now the staff check mark, I'm going to take that off. I'm not sending to any staff members. You'll notice that when I did that, the app notification changed. There is actually, and when it says staff, it means staff of the school district. I have a student in my first period class whose parent is a teacher in the district, and that shows that that parent has signed up to get app notifications. They've also signed up, you can see, to get emails. So this is where you can see that duplication. 28 and 8 if I include that parent, 27 and 7 if I don't. So I'm going to load the rest of my students. Doesn't matter what order I load them in. And you'll notice as I keep loading, these numbers continue to increase. When I have all the classes loaded, there are 127 parent emails being generated, 132 text messages going out to parents, 44 parents who will receive app notifications. That parent, by the way, that I deselected is still going to get this because they're getting it as a parent now, not as a staff member. And 151 students who will receive whatever message I'm sending. That's all the students I have. That's my class load this year. My contact load this year is 151. So then I put a subject line in. Past subject lines are saved. This will be my virtual learning update for the 13th of April. So when we return, I would compose my message. I can attach a file if I want to. I've been sending out some cartoons that middle schoolers appreciate. Here's one that they'll like. So I'll attach that. I can see my list of attachments down at the bottom here. Then I would create my message and I would post. Now, as far as posting itself, I have a couple of options. If I click on this arrow, you can see One option is to schedule. So if I wanted to schedule, I could put in the date and time I want to schedule. One option is to post now. I'm going to actually cancel that. And that'll bring me back to another option, which is to have a draft. So I can preview my message. All right, that's what I had so far. I could send a test message to myself if I want to. I don't want to do any of that. I want to cancel that. And I'm going to set this up. I'm going to go back. I still have to build my message. So I'm just going to save what I've done so far as a draft. That takes me back to the home page. When I get to the home page, if I click on drafts, here it is again. When I open it, it already has my students and parents loaded, all the classes. It already has my subject line. It still has my super cool cartoon. And now I'm ready to actually work on the message itself. At any point then I can go back and I can select from these options, post it now, schedule it, save a draft, preview. Once again, I'm going to save a draft, and that'll automatically take me back to the home screen. And now I want to show you how you can check to see who's actually receiving these messages. To check out who's receiving your messages, you're going to go down and you're going to find a message you've sent in the past. Here was my April 3rd virtual learning update. Again, if I want to see the whole message, click on it. There's everything I sent, including the cartoon. Have a student who's doing a replica of what our date board is in the room every day. This cartoon happens to be the super cool chocolate bunnies with their CDC approved face coverings, not N95s. And what I want to do now is I want to look at who received this. So same message, and I'm going to go down to who was notified. By the way, if a parent or a student sends you a quick, I appreciate you sending posts, you'll see that pop up as well. But I want to look at who's actually receiving my message. So I go to this screen, my notification screen, and you'll see familiar numbers. There were 128 emails going out, 132 text users, 44 app users. You'll see this number. There are actually 263 total users. That number is smaller than this number because of the duplications. On the particular message that I sent for the 3rd, 229 of those people were reached. And here's a breakdown of that. 128 were reached via email. Now, that's 128 who we sent emails to, who had signed up for email. Actually, we only delivered 116 because there are 12 email addresses that are flawed, that are wrong in the system. Of the 116 that were delivered, 49 were actually viewed. On the text users, there are 132 people signed up to get text messages, delivered 117. 15 failed. That cell number isn't working any longer, isn't receiving the text messages. And on the app users, 44 were downloaded and 4 of those were confirmed. I'm not sure what that confirmation process looks like. I haven't gone into the app to confirm a message, but I do know that 44 were sent out. And if I go down, I can take a look at the different users that actually asked for those messages, who received them, who viewed them. So here's a parent who the message was sent to, but they didn't open it. Here's a parent who actually opened the message. Here's one of those failed text messages because the number that they've given us, or the number in the system, is a landline number. So you get all kinds of analytics, and you can see which parents are actually looking at the messages you're sending. This is nice if a parent says, gosh, you haven't sent me anything, and you look in and you find that it's this parent or this parent who's blocked messaging for whatever reason, blocked the email, then you can say to them, well, actually, I did send you stuff back on the 3rd of April, but you either didn't open the email or you've chosen to block your email. If you change that, then you'll get all my future messages. I'm actually more interested in this 151 students. there were 151 students who received my message. I'm curious how many actually looked at it. So I'm going to click the Student tab. And now I know that of the 151 that were delivered, 80 of those were opened. So a little better than half, but not great for 151 being delivered. If I scroll down into the students section, I get the same sort of breakdown. Students who opened it, students to whom it was delivered but didn't open it. So this student chose not to open that email. They just didn't go in and open their email. These students, student right here, student right here, not only did it get delivered to their mailbox, but they opened it. This again is helpful if you have either a student or a parent who says, I can't keep up with the work or do the work because I don't know what you're sending out. I'm not getting messages. And you scroll through and you find that, hang on a minute, here you are, student. And I did deliver you an email, or the system delivered the email I wrote back on April 3rd, but you didn't open it. You need to open your email every day. And this is one of the things that's going to be helpful too as the district during a school closure time, as the district is trying to figure out why kids aren't participating. The people who administer ParentSquare should be able to see this same information, and they should be able to see which students are not opening. If they asked you for that information, you can select just the delivered students, and you could go through and you could highlight all of these students that showed delivered only, and then you could copy and paste that into a document fairly quickly, send that to the administrator and say, here are all the kids that got an email but did not open it. All right, so there's your quick rundown on using ParentSquare to communicate with students and parents. If you have any questions, there is a fairly decent amount of documentation on ParentSquare. We do have a district ParentSquare coordinator. If it's about the stuff that I've put out just now, something I wasn't clear enough on, and you want to contact me, feel free to drop me an email and I will share what I know. I'm by no means an expert at this. Everything you've seen is just what I have figured out by using it. And if you have some things that you understand about ParentSquare that I didn't talk about that you think might be helpful to me, I hope you'll send me an email with that also. Okay, looking for questions if you got them. Thanks.